Some Real Madrid fans want them to lose this game to make sure that Lopetegui goes.
Well, I wouldn't go quite so far as to say they want to lose the game, but I do think that as a club, they're in a slightly weird position here. And they're in a slightly weird position because at boardroom level, at presidential level, there is a belief now within the club that the right thing to do is to move Julian Lopetegui on and to replace the manager. Now, obviously, part of the problem at the moment is that the same lack of time and alternatives that brought Lopetegui into the job in the first place in the summer, as pretty much the fifth or sixth choice that Real Madrid have, is precisely what's keeping him in the job now. So that's one of the reasons why this hasn't happened yet. In other words, the sentence has effectively been passed down, but it hasn't been carried out. It hasn't been executed yet. Now, obviously, that means that you go to Barcelona and there's one thing worse than losing the Clasico to Barcelona, and it's winning the Clasico. Not because you don't want to win the Clasico, of course you do, but because it does create a scenario in which then you have a difficulty in making that move. You have a difficulty in making that move that you decided is the right thing to do. Now, of course, in a perfect world for Real Madrid, they win the Clasico and Lopetegui keeps on going and keeps on winning and keeps on making it impossible for them to sack him. And at the end of the season, he's standing there as a league champion and the European champion too, and everyone's happy and they can all pretend that back in the autumn they didn't want him to go. But they do. And so there is this kind of, you're right, there is this kind of weird scenario where I wouldn't go so far as to say that anyone wants to lose, but they know that, wants to lose, but they know that if they go and win, it makes a certain part of what they're trying to do that little bit more difficult.
How does that affect the players going into this game at all, Craig? Because you know the manager's in trouble.
Some of the Real Madrid players have already been out. I think Ramos was a couple of weeks ago or 10 days ago, pouring his love for Lopetegui and saying, well, we'll get it right and we're taking the blame and all that usual nonsense. But at the end of the day, it'll be his head that will roll, as Sid said, probably sooner rather than later. I bet he just wishes he'd kept his head down and stayed with the national team, because it has been an unmitigated disaster. But he could see that pot of gold, he could smell the opportunity. Managing Real Madrid probably doesn't come round often, if at all. And so he's jumped in there, but he's just jumped in at a bad time. It's not a great time for the players. I think they need to take some blame as well, but clearly they're not responding to what he's doing on the training field or what he's saying. I just don't see them I don't see them getting anything in this game. I just don't. I think they've been that bad, and I see them getting beat by a couple of goals at the Camp Nou, and him being sacked by, we get to Saturday evening, sorry, Sunday evening.
Barca proved, didn't they, midweek, that without Messi, they're still a force to be reckoned with. It was an impressive victory against Inter, and I imagine we're going to see the same starting 11 for this game.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting what happened against Inter Milan, not just because Barcelona played well, but because of the choice of approach, the way that they did this. Now, obviously, because he had a good start to the season, because he scored a lot of goals, there was a sense that Dembélé was about to become that great player, or at least a very talented player, a very creative player, a goal scorer, that Barcelona, of course, hoped he would be when they made him the most expensive signing in their history, until Coutinho turned up 6 months later. But what happened in this game, and I think partly because of the way that Dembélé had performed against Sevilla at the weekend when Barcelona won 4-2 but looked a little less impressive without Messi, partly as well because of the apparent disconnect between him and other members of the squad, the apparent disconnect between him and the coach, is that Ernesto Valverde went for a formation against Inter Milan to bring Rafinha into the team, who's hardly played at all this season, to reinforce the middle of the pitch and go for an approach that was, OK, we don't try and replace the creativity that Messi gives us. What we try and do is we try and enhance our ability to control the game. If that means creating slightly fewer chances, but not allowing the other side anything of the ball, but not allowing the other side to approach us too much, then we'll do that. And as it turned out, the chances came as well. And so I think when we saw that, and we saw the way they did it, and they reinforced it, and you look at the starting lineup, and essentially it's 5 midfielders in there and only one genuine striker. Coutinho is one of the theoretical front three. Rafinha is theoretically one of the front three. Of course, those two are coming very close to the midfield three. And I think the fact that it works so well means that while probably if you'd asked me 7 days ago, will Dembélé play the Clasico, I would have probably said yes. I think right now, I think the immense majority of us believe that that won't happen.
Gav, the general consensus seems to be that Barca could, in fact, run away with this tie. How much hope do you give Real Madrid?
Yeah, I don't get this, okay? It's 4 points between Real Madrid and Barcelona. It's not 40 points. In this incredible run of bad results that Real Madrid have had, sometimes they've been absolutely awful. Other games, with a bit more luck, they could have actually won. Like at the weekend when they hit the woodwork 3 times and twice they had to deal with VAR. both correctly. But still, Isco is only just returned. He's absolutely critical to Lopetegui. I think this is going to be much closer than people expect. Oh, and of course, did I mention, as you mentioned, no Messi for Barcelona. I think even the fact that Valverde's putting extra layers of midfielders in there rather than having the guts to go and play with strikers, for me, I think it's a draw or a Real Madrid victory here.
The big game in the Premier League this weekend is actually on Monday. Tottenham taking on Manchester City. Leading up to that, some games of note. Well, one in particular, I suppose, Manchester United taking on Everton. Jose Mourinho was talking, and he said, we knew the club, Everton, would move in that direction. Very good players from Barcelona. So that is the level which Everton wants to reach. It's the kicker, I suppose, from Mourinho. Their ambitions are very similar to our ambitions.
Well, clearly, he's just having another pop at what he perceives as the ambition of the board.
Yeah.
To spend money, because, you know, it would be ludicrous to suggest that Everton Football Club and Manchester United Football Club, the biggest, or one of the biggest clubs in the world, have the same ambitions at the end of the road. It's clearly not the case. So I think it's just more rhetoric aimed at trying to make sure some mud sticks in other people.
It's white noise now, though, isn't it?
It is. I think it's gotten to that point. I've felt all along that what you've seen and hearing from Jose Mourinho is a consistent lowering of the Manchester United bar. What's expected of Manchester United? And it all started with this, finishing second place last season was the best achievement of my career. You heard it again in midweek with, well, we're really just trying to finish second. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, Manchester United and Everton have similar ambitions. Now, yes, on one hand, it is a poke upstairs as to what's happening and the way he feels he's been let down. But at the same time and time again, I feel Jose Mourinho is lowering the expectations for Manchester United fans who become spoilt. He can't deliver on the promises that come with a big-name manager and his reputation. So as a result, let's just take second best.
I mean, when you look at that table, I mean, it's shocking, really, isn't it? I mean, by the time we reconvene on Monday, they could be in the bottom. They could be in the bottom half. They could be in the bottom half of the Premier League table. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it here, but I mean, I don't know. Is there any, maybe Richarlison? Is there any other Everton players would get in the Man United team? I don't think so. And they're Everton? They're a point clear of them. They could go 4 points clear of them, and they could drop into that bottom half, as I said. So listen, you said it's white noise now.
Jules, it's interesting, as Shaka made the point there, made it well, didn't he? The fact that he just continues to lower the expectations of United. Did so after the Juventus defeat, talking about how great Juve are and how fantastic their squad is. And now talking about Everton pretty much on the same playing field as Manchester United.
Yeah, I think Shaka is right. And for me, it's disrespecting the club. Once again, how many times has he done it this season? And this time it's like, oh, look who they got. They got Barca players. Who did I get? Oh, I got Fred and Diogo Dalot. That's all I got, basically. That's what he meant. And when they went to West Ham and lost, and he said, oh, who's their scout? That amazing scout who discovered Issa Diop. You know, I don't have a scout like that because Issa Diop is a monster and I would have loved him in my team, but I don't have him. And like you said, in midweek against Juventus, talking about the level that Juventus and the other top European clubs are and where Manchester United are at the moment. And I just think times and times again, he keeps disrespecting the club, the fans, the people who pay his enormous wages as well. And yet there's no result. Like Craig said, they're 10th in the table. They're playing like a team that is 10th in the table as well. They're not unlucky to be there. They deserve to be 10th. That's how bad they've been this season. And it's part of his fault as well. And yet he's still opening his mouth and still disrespecting that club.
Hello and welcome to Extra Time. We've got a cast of characters here today. Not only Shaq and Craig, but look at this, ready? Hey, look, Gav and Sin and Julian. Craig's excited face about that prospect. You right, Shaq?
Oh, yeah. Carry on. Carry on.
I feel we have to start with Gav because we had to cut you off during the show, Gav, because we ran out of time.
No, we didn't. You just wanted to cut Gav.
No, we did run out of time, I promise. You were going to explain to us about the FIFA situation and that proposed La Liga game in Miami. Get ready.
Yeah, I was going to say, the FIFA Council met. They didn't need to discuss this. This was simply brought up, and they came out giving the opinion. that they were against it. But here's the thing. It's not the FIFA Council's job to decide this. That's why they said if it were up to us, we'd say no. It's not up to them. The people who have to approve this are the Spanish FA, UEFA, CONCACAF, and the US Soccer Federation. So it's up to them. FIFA really have nothing to do with this. And even some of the initial reporting with Tebas saying, okay, fine, FIFA said no, let's go and run off the CAS and sue or whatever. He can only do that if the people who actually get a say in it go and turn this down.
Thank you very much, Cam. To your questions, what's wrong in watching your own goals or assists? This is the back of yesterday's discussion as to whether or not the boys watched themselves back on tape when they scored great goals or great saves or conceded goals. And you said that you never even watched the Sweden game where you were the star, Shaq.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't watch saves. At times, I'd watch goals conceded or mistakes with the goalkeeper coach, whoever that may be, purely from an analysis point of view. But that's it.
What was the analysis? Do better.
Yeah. Save it. Put your hands behind the ball. That helps.
I feel I know the answer to this question already, but Craig, would you ever go home and watch yourself?
No.
Wait. Yeah, finish that question.
No.
Watch yourself score goals?
Okay.
No?
No.
What was the most sensational goal that the opposition player scored during your playing days? Oh, this is to you, Shaka. I think it was Gerrard's goal in the FA Cup final. What was
that was probably
the best goal that you'd ever seen?
I think so.
Yeah.
I conceded quite a few goals, good and bad. I used to stand when they did the old top goals of the month. I was in there every. Every single time I was.
Oh, you'd watch that.
Well, yeah, I had no choice.
Greg, the best goal you ever saw when you're on a pitch?
Oh, I can't remember.
Good, excellent.
I'd have to think about it. I can't remember.
Have a think.
I don't remember these kind of things.
No.
Dan would apparently. If Dan were a player, he'd go home, watch every single decent pass he made.
Yep.
I was doing a thing in London a few years ago with Nigel Winterburn for the Premier League and TV, and Nigel said to me, he said, "Do you know what? I can't remember half the games."
Right.
And I was like, I can't remember either.
Yeah.
You just.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I'd never played at Sheffield. I mean, I played at most of the bigger grounds in England. And it's at one point Sheffield United were in the Premier League, but I thought I'd never played at their ground. I can't remember ever being at Bramall Lane, but I have.
Okay, good.
So I just
good. Right.
So if people are asking questions,
but it's an interesting question that I can understand why people would ask.
Because Dan would.
It's very difficult to
Dan
remember.
would watch himself.
No, we're not watching. I'm not watching myself now. We're moving on to the best goal you've ever seen.
Already answered that.
All right, I know. Right, boys. You obviously weren't on the pitch, but maybe in the stands or as a young child or whatever you were doing, Gab, if you were ever young. The best goal you ever saw, starting off with Julian. Good. Mic's not working. Right, Sid.
Well, I was there to see Shaq let in that Steven Gerrard goal, and every time I think back to that, it gets further and further away, and you know it seems like he was shooting from a different city now. Maybe the best I've seen live was Leo Messi against Athletic Bilbao in the Copa del Rey final, or perhaps even Gareth Bale against Barcelona in the Copa del Rey final. Those were both pretty tasty.
The commentary in that game, but that doesn't count. Oh. And the Messi goal, which was fabulous. But I've got a goal that's just sprung to mind.
Oh, right, there we go. Right.
There's probably
YouTubing it.
There is probably, you don't need to YouTube this. There's probably a better one in a game that I was involved in, but I can't remember. But the Gascoigne goal against Scotland at Euro '96, when he flicked it over Colin Hendry's head and then volleyed it in the net. That was a pretty special goal from a special player at that time.
Yeah, some goal.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah, serious. I did like it.
You've got to rack your brains to start thinking back.
There you are.
That's all I'm saying.
Should we go to Gab? Best goal you ever saw, Gab?
In person? You know what? I'm a bit like Craig. I don't remember them. I remember a lot of really, really good ones and important ones.
Okay, that's all right. You can pass.
Zola against Norwich. Zidane in the 2002 European Cup final against Bayer Leverkusen. That was pretty good. Gareth Bale in the last year in the in the Champions League final.
Fine. Right, Jules, is your audio working again?
All right.
No, it's still not working. This is his best piece, man.
Jules, your mic's not working.
Is he getting paid for this?
Jules,
can you just reenact the goal for us?
Jules, here's what I used to do when I was in that situation. Take the mic off, you're still getting paid, go home, not my bottle.
Here we go then.
I'll tell you what, if Jules does choose the Gareth Bale overhead kick, he probably could reenact this on screen. All you got to do is kind of lean back a bit, stick your feet up in the air, and we'll know which one you're talking about.
He's not going to choose that over Zidane, is he?
Well, all right, okay, then if you're going to do the Zidane goal, he just needs to put his foot up near his ear somewhere and kind of look, look like he's trying to score. It's easy.
Right, go on, Jules.
I was going to say Olivier Giroud scorpion kick with Arsenal against Crystal Palace.
Steve doesn't hate that goal. Steve hates it.
Yeah, he does hate it.
Yeah.
Here we go then. This one's just for Gab. Who are your top 5 favourite teams to watch?
Right now?
Yes.
Funny enough, I came prepared for this one, so I can rattle through them rather quickly.
Well, that'll be first.
In no particular order.
Can I go to the bathroom while you're doing this?
Manchester City.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Can I just get on with it, Craig? I know you love extra time, and it's your favorite part of the show, and you love it when people just keep talking and filling words. But can I actually get on with my list? Because some of us have things to do. Good.
You carry on. I'm just checking my golf trip.
Borussia Dortmund,
Next
Manchester City, Liverpool, Betis, and Leeds United.
Beautiful.
Oh, man.
Why do you keep letting Shaka rate the teams when every time he does it, everybody disagrees with his rating?
You don't really disagree.
He's the only one who answered the email.
You don't really disagree.
No, we agree, really.
Yeah. You're just annoying.
Also, can I interrupt here?
Well, it seems that you've already done that.
Too late.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it now, right? Yeah. The answer is in the question. Why do you get Shaka to do it when everyone disagrees? Because everyone disagreeing is the glory of it, isn't it?
There you are.
That's
what clickbait.
That's where the fun is.
That's what Shaka is.
There you go.
Jules, do you want to say anything?
I love Shaka's power ranking.
Oh, yeah. Cheers, Jules.
Greetings from India. Who's the funniest and arrogant character among the panelists? Well, the moodiest character. And the funniest, I think Paul Mariner, unintentionally.
Mars is yeah.
That is it. We are done. Thank you very much to our cast of thousands today.
It's like showing that little form.
It is nice. Why isn't Gab looking at the camera? What's he looking at?
What's he doing?
Sid.
Gab, what are you doing?
Sid, you're morphing into your old boy.
She's going to come up.
I'm preparing for Sunday night show.
All right. Okay.
Let's go.
That's it. Let's do it. Me and you tomorrow, Shaq.
Are we?
Yes, looking back at the big games in the Premier League.
Okay.
Just a reminder, if you ever miss extra time, you can check out our daily segment over on the website. A lot of it ends up in Best of the Week.
Move on.
Well, maybe I don't want to.
Don't move on then.
Glasses have been thrown, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't move on then.
Liverpool in at 6.
What?
Now you begin to make some
Keep
sense.
that noise up. I'm going to drop them all the way up.
Stupid noise that was.
I don't know, yeah, it wasn't even a stupid noise.
I used to work
between a word.
I used to.
Gab.
I don't know. Why am I even bothering?
I don't know, what are you going to say?
Aren't I supposed to be over there?
They wanted you that way, apparently that side's better.
Oh, well.
Or less worse.
One of the two. I'll take it.
What's the best performance you've ever seen from a number 10?
Maradona, 1986 World Cup.
It was just hilarious.
Like, really?
Watching all these Englishmen crying their eyes out. Handball, yeah, right.
Well, it was handball.
No, it wasn't. Fallacy.
It's a fallacy.
They headed it.
They're 10th in the Premier League, a million miles behind the guys at the top. Their football's horrendous, and he's in a press conference lauding Juventus.
Couple of passes together by Manchester United, and all of a sudden people are like, yes, yes, we completed 3 passes.
Quite frankly, it's just an embarrassment now. They've spent absolutely millions to be what? second rate at this level? Because that's what they are.
Mr. Craig Burley, Esquire, on the show.
You're acting weird today.
It's a tie. It's a tie.
We've learned today Stevie's never had a taco.
Yeah, what about that?
And he hates salad. What a shock.
What about tomatoes?
Are you getting there?
We're going
Beetroot.
to list every vegetable.
Oh, yeah.
Beetroot.
Cucumber's rubbish.
I like cucumber.
Well, you would do.
Little salt and black pepper on there. Happy days.
Juventus don't necessarily have the greatest players in Europe.
But they're better than Manchester United.
Because they're coached properly.
But then what's the point in listening?
They're coached because I'm telling you, you're not listening to me. Head's gone. Head's gone with this guy.
You're going to say, well, but it's only Ligue 1. Yeah, it's only Ligue 1, but PSG have actually played really well.
Oh, they play League 1. Well, guess what? That's half the problem.
When Steven Gerrard scored past you in the FA Cup final, you didn't watch that back and think, could I have done better?
No, I didn't, Dan. Thank you very much. Maybe I should now. That was my last game in English football, by the way.
Oh, was it?
Why am I going to watch that back?
Do you read your articles to your wife and your children when you're excited about them? Go, look, here we go.
At bedtime, maybe. Time for bed, kids.
Shaka's right. At bedtime, some of those financial fair play articles.
Well, we've had some calls about the vacant Ipswich job.
Really?
Is that something that you would be interested in?
No.
So, do you want the Real Madrid job?
Do you think I would leave you, Stephen? Alone? I'm 2 for 1. Fun and not knowledgeable.
Do you know, we've all got our cubicles at work, but when Paul and Stevie are on the same show together, they sit in the same cubicle with each other.
And don't.
It's barely big enough for one of them. It's barely big enough for Stevie.
I'm going to say this in the show, and when I say this, you say this. And I'll say this.
Definitely not planning the show.
Can you imagine, Gab? No, definitely. Stevie's on YouTube, and I don't know what Paul's doing. Why do you like cucumbers? Why is it so obvious?
Paul goes, you would.
Why is it so obvious to Paul?
I don't know. I like cucumbers. They're refreshing.
It's just annoying.
I can only imagine Gab
How can
Marcotti's...
cucumbers be annoying?
Just there.
Can you imagine Gab Marcotti's kids going to bed saying, please, Dad, don't read me another Monday's musings.
Oh, dear.
Marcotti's musings, no more.
I've done...
Give me a whiskey. Give me anything.
I bet his kids go to bed earlier than Monday. It's Monday. Let's go to bed quick.
I've done a Q&A.
Let's go to sleep fast before Dad.